Y'all don't know what I went through.
Do you have a card in your hands right now?
Nike Talk was that place that spiraled what you enjoy now.
Anyone who brought a Kobe shoe in, I would clean it for free.
Man, Melo was better than a lot of people in the league.
I saw that. My favorite jerseys, that one, the Barkley,
Kobe fours.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 42. This is the Dandin and RJ Machismo podcast. This is Dandin. RJ Machismo will not be here tonight, but he says what's up to everybody. So tonight we got a special guest and also the big homie Wole from Urban Sports. How you doing? How you doing today, Wole?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm good. Every time I'm on here, I feel like I be missing RJ, man.
I know, man.
RJ don't like me or something?
No, man.
You got something against me?
Nah, he's a medical worker, bro. So he's always
okay.
Yeah, so you know.
Damn, tell RJ, man, my feelings are hurt, man. Bro.
No, but definitely we all gonna link up.
All right, what's up? That's what's up, man.
So tonight we got a special guest. We got the big homie Mike Knoxxx. He is from the Around the Bloxxx wrestling show. How you doing today, Mike?
How you doing, man? Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I've seen your work, YouTube and your podcast. You guys are doing a great job.
Appreciate it.
Focusing like on professional wrestling, all brands. So I like that you do a lot of variety and your unbiased opinions, and that's great because not many people are honest nowadays with their takes and opinions with that.
Well, I appreciate that. The unbiased part, especially. A lot of people think I'm biased, but I'm not biased. I just speak what's in my heart. So I appreciate that.
There you go.
Mike the GOAT, man. He the GOAT out here in these wrestling streets, man.
That's what Wole told me. You know what I mean? So
yeah, man.
All right, so we're gonna start off with you, Mike. So tell us more about yourself and how did you get into professional wrestling?
Easy as a kid. My father was a huge Dusty Rhodes fan. So I'm talking from like 1977. I was probably 2 years old. I was told I was watching wrestling since I was 2 years old. So been a fan and grew up loving Dusty Rhodes, loving NWA. Like most people in the early 80s, gravitated towards the big lights that was the WWF at the time. And pretty much that stayed my heart. And although today it's being taken to a different step with AEW, giving wrestling life support. They had a couple years ago was a hip hop on life support, but professional wrestling has been on life support. So it's being saved right now. And just a grown man who still loves professional wrestling, but I got a family. So, I just spend all my time watching wrestling and stuff.
That's great. So do you does your kids or does your wife, do they watch professional wrestling with you?
No, my wife stopped watching once the Attitude Era kind of ended. Women watching the Rock, she'd come in there and peeking there at Roman Reigns, stuff like that. And if she catches it, she'll remember some good times or say some things, or she likes that girl like she's a fan of Bianca Belair. But my children are just as fanatics as I am. That's how I raised them. So that's all they know is wrestling because I raised them the same way. So it's the one thing my kids and I have in common. They don't really mess with my sports like I wish they would, but they love their comics and their wrestling that I do like. So we have that in common. That's
dope. Yeah. So my son, he started to watch professional wrestling and his favorite faction is the New Day because New Day is just they're just fun to cheer for, and especially at that time when Kofi won the the WWE championship. That was a time where my son, he was only 4 years old, and then he saw Kofi had his two sons holding him, and he wanted to root for him, dad, he has his kids are in the ring and he won a championship, and with Big E and Xavier Woods, they're so fun and vibrant. So that's his favorite. That's his favorite faction, and he's even a bigger Big E fan now that he won the Money in the Bank. So he's just waiting for the right time for Big E to cash in, and I'm looking forward to how he's gonna cash in and when he's gonna cash in.
Yeah, well, I what he did on Friday with the can when Heyman was there. Listen. Big E just needs to, they just don't need to drop the ball with Big E like they've been dropping the ball. That's what I need them to do right now.
Yep. Big facts. All right. So next question for you, Mike. Your top 5 wrestlers of all time.
See, my top and my favorite are different, right? So, my favorites, I won't name. She asked me who I. So let me rephrase that question back to you. Then, are you asking me my favorite wrestlers of all time, or who I believe is the top 5 of all time?
Let's do both. Let's do both.
All right. Well, I go with the easy part, which is my 5 favorite wrestlers of all time. It'll be Dusty Rhodes, Randy Macho Man, Randy Savage, beautiful Bobby Eaton. May he also rest in peace. Kurt Angle and The Rock. Distant coming in there will be Triple H at number 6. Now, who I think is the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling, I think is John Cena. I think it's Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, and I would. This is where it gets tricky because I just refuse to say his name, Mr. HH. But in fairness, the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling is HH, John Cena, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock.
Yeah,
there it is. I said that's the legitimate fair Mount Rushmore, whether we agree with them or not. That's the biggest faces in professional wrestling is Hulk Hogan. I said it again, didn't say it, but it's Stone Cold, The Rock, and John Cena.
So we no mentioning HH, just by HH.
That's all I refer to him as.
Okay, yeah, a lot of He's actually one of my like faves too. So it's okay though.
He used to be my favorite until that weak ass apology on Good Morning America.
Yeah, that was kind of weak though. He could have had a better publicist to write something better for him. So I was disappointed.
You don't say that in the 50s it was okay to say the N-word.
Nope.
No, it wasn't. My mother was born in 1955. What are you talking about, sir?
Yeah, exactly. It's not a time and place for that derogatory language at all.
I'm one of the people who tell you I didn't even care what he said in the privacy of his own home personally. I mean, that's how he felt. That's how he felt. You know what I mean? He was secretly recorded. I mean, like we all say things we probably shouldn't say or say things in joking or in jest or in anger. So I can care less about that. It was the apology for me that I thought was the weakest part of it all.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I get it. Like, because you're right. We say a lot of ignorant stuff when we're not being recorded. But you're like, once you own up to it, you got to own up to it. You got to just say what it is. Once you on national TV, you got to show some responsibility. You know what I'm saying? You got to say, I was wrong, period. There's no no leeway, no wiggle room to kind of make an excuse for that. You know what I'm saying? I bet it's crazy. I try to divide the two when we talk about professional wrestling, and I respect, what I'm saying, just saying HH, I respect that. Like I get it. Like but I put it in its own realm. But I'm like you, Mike, you can't deny it in terms of his greatness into the sport.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
It wouldn't be what it is on the level that
if it wasn't for him. It wasn't for him.
Yeah. Where it is, and people say, "Oh, it really wasn't him," but
it was.
Whether you think it was him or not, or you think it was Vince or not,
exactly,
he was at the forefront of it.
Yeah, they're together. They're tied together. Like you can't deny it. Like Vince is a genius, but what he brought to the table, he needed somebody to work with, and those two together were magic. Because, like you said, if it wasn't for professional wrestling has been dope. Ric Flair has been in the game for how long? He's dope as hell, right? But he didn't have a Vince McMahon, and he wasn't an HH, right? In terms of marketability, he was great in terms of the craft, though. Like you watch a Ric Flair match, you're like, geez, this man is amazing. Charisma, amazing, off the charts. But something about that individual and Vince McMahon together was special. So and I always use an example. Like, look, as big as The Rock was in that WrestleMania, I was talking to Dan before we started. As big as The Rock was at that particular point in time, he fought Hogan in at WrestleMania. In beginning, The Rock was getting the Rock cheer because The Rock was like the biggest face in the world. But as that match went on, who was being cheered?
The crowd changed because that WrestleMania crowd is just different than most crowds. Anything is possible in a WrestleMania crowd, and you have that moment, and you're in that moment with that icon on that stage. It's just that, and to me, that's the beauty of WrestleMania that I think a lot of fans still forget about. Like they say, we talk about how great and big and special and exciting All Out was this past week. It still doesn't have that, and at least not yet, and of course not. But it's not WrestleMania. You know what I mean? It's not what's been embedded in your brains and in your heart. So.
Yep. So diving into AEW, Mike, that's a nice segue. So we talk about the latest pay-per-view, All Out. So AEW has been existing for at least less than 2 years, and they've made a significant impact in the wrestling industry. Where do you see the company going in the next year or two?
Well, this is year 3, 2 years now with Dynamite, and with all that still, I just think the sky's is the limit for AEW right now. I said this before Punk came out and had that chance to mimic and say the words. I had it on my show. I said, "Will these guys coming over be as big as the impact of the NWO?" And to be honest with you, the answer is no. And here's why. The NWO was as big as it was because the world was different. It's the unknown today that's not, then. And the difference also lies in the fact of when those guys left, you didn't know who they were and where they were going. When they showed up, you knew who they were and where they came from and wasn't sure what they were doing there. The difference here is you've outside of Punk 7 years being gone, which is, what's actually rejuvenated wrestling, but we knew Daniel Bryan was coming. We knew Adam Cole was coming. We suspect Bray Wyatt's on his way now. We knew Malachi was coming. There's no surprises. We knew these things were going to happen. So we haven't even had a chance to miss them. We just saw Christian doing the Rhodes WrestleMania. We just saw snack them, pass them, smash them, pin them. Daniel Bryan, I'm sorry, I call him Daniel Bun Bella, that is. I'm a huge fan of Daniel Bryan, okay? But, we knew he was just there. So that's why the impact can't be the same. But as long as they keep going on the trajectory they're going on, I do fear, right? For all the true AEW fans out there, and I'm becoming one. I was not one in the beginning. I did have my reservations. I don't like guys like Hangman Page, who I think is their rocket ship, who is their company, their original product, even though he comes from Ring of Honor, get swept under the rug like that. And on the flip side of fans and how fans talk, if this was the other way around and they were taking all these guys from this other company, they would say, right. They're forgetting what they were built on. They're forgetting so they're getting these big pops, they're getting these big names, they're getting the attention, but are you losing the focus on what most fans went to you for, which is your core product that was being homegrown, or not really homegrown, but the way you would construct how the stories would go. And now you're bringing in guys that were just on TV that are bigger than your Adam Cole Bay, in my opinion, is single-handedly bigger than the Elite by itself.
Ooh,
so
exactly.
And PWI Magazine, you got it wrong. Okay, because the best wrestler in the world,
I like Kenny.
It's Roman Reigns.
I love Kenny, so I'm not gonna say that. I love Kenny.
It's Roman Reigns. It's just
Here
the
we
year
go.
that Roman has had. It's the year
Kenny,
that
man.
Roman has had to me that can't be matched right now.
No, Mike, I love Roman. I feel you can go. I feel like they're different. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just different.
They are. They're
very different.
Very
They're both heels, but they're different in the way they tackle it, right? Roman's that bully in the block, right? He tough though. Like Roman the Beast. I'm with you. I get it. Like I feel like, Roman can be one. That's fine. I think that if you have, but I can see how one would have Kenny Omega's one. I think
they picked Kenny because of the fans.
Yeah,
and that's where again, these lists, as Shaq would say, are culturally biased. I mean, plus a list is your list. Like,
of course, bro.
So you can do what you want with it. I just think, in my opinion, he wasn't chosen because he deserved. Not that he didn't deserve number one. That's probably wrong injustice, but he wasn't better than who should be number one. And I think they put him number one because of the success of AEW.
Okay,
and
that's fair.
The lack of fan respect for WWE lately, and I think that's what was the deciding factor, more or less, than it actually being Kenny Omega.
Yeah, Roman a dog, man. Roman a dog. There's nothing. I have nothing negative to say about Roman.
Yeah.
Roman's awesome. Like I can't even. I think both of them. Like I said, I think a lot of times people try to pin both companies against each other, and I get it. And I feel like, and I said this before, and I feel like again, they both have good products. I don't feel like they're weak products. I mean, I think AEW has a certain they have a certain type of fan that they're trying to attract, and the WWE has a certain type of fans they're trying to attract. And
I want to know what those fan base is for WWE, because I have no idea who fans.
Yeah, I know. Right nowadays, like
I'm getting lost in translation.
Yeah, I know it's getting tougher too. I ain't gonna lie to you. But they're still like very talented performers. Like the women's division is amazing to me in the WWE. I think it's an amazing division. I like, again, I do like I like what they're doing with Roman. You know what I'm saying? I love Bobby. I love what they're doing with Bobby Lashley. There's things that are on a positive side. Now, you know, there are some talent that you'd want them to kind of take advantage of, obviously, but the guys they are pushing as the top dogs, I'm a fan of. And I can tell you, and there was a couple years before where I would tell you, no, I wasn't a fan of some of the people they were pushing, but these two dudes they're pushing as top dogs, I'm not mad at it at all. You know what I mean? I'm glad they're bringing back Finn Balor to play. Like, I think that's a good move too.
I just don't like him against Roman. That's all. I just think certain guys against Roman are too small, and I think even the Adam Coles of the world are can go against bigger guys, and that's the thing with AEW. AEW has a very good mix of little guys.
Yeah.
And so the big guys like your Luchasaurus and your Hobbs and your powerhouse Hobbs and those guys, they're not the majority. They're the minority. And WWE, he's trying to get back to the 80s style where the bigger guy is the minority. And that's also
ain't that kind of dope? I was just thinking about that. I'm glad you said that. I was thinking about that. Because you know what? Remember, like having somebody super tall wasn't the norm.
No.
It wasn't. I kind of like that. Like I like that you now when you have a big you have a Rusev, right? Like he's the minority in this in AEW. You like you mentioned Luchasaurus, but he's a big man who kind of plays like a small dude, right? Yeah. But I like that though. I like the element. Like when I grew up watching wrestling, you know, when I saw Sid Vicious, it was, oh shoot. He's somebody tall. He was different.
A big guy.
You know what I'm saying? When it was Mean Mark before he was the Undertaker, I was like, oh snap! This is a mean dude. Punch. Yeah, exactly. So it was something different. So I'm glad. I kind of like that because you make them now like Andre the Giant was different. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm glad that you kind of have that. Like you're respecting the smaller wrestler, the guys who can work, right? And then also you have physicality with the guys who are just physical in the game. So
right.
I'm with you. I thought that was dope. I like that about AEW. That's one thing I do like about AEW. But I think wrestling fans are winning though. All around, I think wrestling fans are winning. They are winning. Like especially you have it on separate nights. I don't want to hear nothing about kind of having them all like compete. I love the separate nights effect. You know what I'm saying? Like let Monday rock with Monday Night Raw. That's their night. Let it rock. It's Wednesday AEW. Thursday you got Impact. Yeah. Then have an idea. You can just say, okay, what's the better brand? But you're giving these companies the opportunity to grow on their night. I like it.
Variety is key. You know, you need different flavors for different days, right? You don't want to be stagnant. All right, so next question for you guys. AEW All Out was considered by many people the best wrestling pay-per-view in several years. So, Mike, why was it so successful?
Honestly, they gave the fans everything they want. And anything that right now that's anti-WWE is going to win over with the fans. It just is.
He's right.
I mean,
He's right.
They gave you CM Punk. How do you have this whole night be built on CM Punk and he was overshadowed by Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole?
I know.
That's insane. Like for him to get overshadowed when he had a great match, started off very slow and sluggish.
It did.
Around and got into, you could tell he was just nervous and know how to, am I the heel, am I the face in that match? He wasn't Punk. Like the things that Roman is doing now where he does a lot of talking in the ring, Punk's always done that. And when Punk wasn't doing it at the beginning of this match, it wasn't Punk.
Yeah.
So, but overall, the pay-per-view just really came off right. My only negative in the pay-per-view, I give it a 5 out of 5. Bret Hart Intercontinental title belts is on my show. We give out, belts for stars. I would like to have seen the guitarist from Fozzy or not play the guitar so long.
That was bad.
Arguably the greatest entrance in professional wrestling is when the crowd sings Judas.
Yeah.
Judas in my mind. Just that scene can just be just unbelievable. So other than that, it was successful because it just gave the fans what they wanted, Wally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. I thought like I'm with you. I thought I wanted to be the regular Jericho entrance. Like that's what you want. I didn't need the guitar.
MJF gave it to you, didn't he?
Oh man, I ain't gonna lie. Oh MJ, that's what I'm telling you. Like man, MJF, man, like I think I was talking to Danny about it. Like, and we were in the chat, so I'm not taking credit for it. But the Roddy Piper comparison is amazing to me. I think it's perfect. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like it's perfect because that's in the '80s. Roddy Piper could say whatever he wanted. It could be racist, whatever he could say whatever he wanted on in terms of trying to antagonize the face, right? So he could do that. Like so MJF reminds me so much of Roddy Piper. And once y'all said that, I was like, oh yeah, he does. He's perfect. Like just seeing what he did on Wednesday. Like it's like, bruh, this Pillman's like, come on now. This is I know you're allowed to say it, but can you like chill out a little bit with Brian Pillman's folks? Like, can we chill a little bit?
Yeah,
that was great
there
on
and
Wednesday.
everything.
That was great. That was great on friend of the program. Shout out to Brian Jr. Interviewed him several times.
Yeah.
Nice fellow.
He seems like a real nice guy. So, but yeah, he's dope. And like that interest got me. I thought that was Jericho coming out with like Y2J. I was like, oh my God, Jericho, like he mixing it up. Yeah. Oh my God. It's like Edge coming out with the Brood. I was like, we going back. We doing okay. We
it did
doing
feel like that,
stuff?
right?
Yeah, huh? It felt like it, right? Yeah, it felt like it. I was like, okay, I got kind of. Then when he came out, I was like, oh,
when they said last match is when
last
you knew.
match, I was like, oh man, this kid here, he got it. You know what I mean? He just got that appeal. But yeah, I'm with you, Mike. Yeah, I would have loved to see that. But in terms of like the card was just amazing. You know what I mean? I love the card. To be honest with you, I love like the tag team match. You know, it was something special.
Even the placement. Listen, greatest tag team match that I've seen since the New Day versus since the New Day versus the Usos in the Hell in a Cell.
That was a good match too. That was a good match too.
I like that one.
Match too.
You know, but I will say this: when people start to try to compare it and say best pay-per-view they've seen in 10 years and things like that, it still felt in comparison to the great, like NXT's Brooklyn's and NXT New Orleans.
So I haven't watched that. Yeah.
And those cars when that early NXT crowd and matches were just things you didn't think a product that had WWE attached to it would be able to do. So.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I mean, like I said, it's still brand new. It's like you're saying, it's 3 years old, and they're still trying to find their niche as far as like that magic, that aura. Like, oh my gosh, I'm looking forward to All Out or those type of things. So I think in time, I think they're heading in the right place.
Danny, what was your favorite match of the pay-per-view?
Honestly, a lot of people say it's CM Punk versus actually it's the tag team match.
It's a tag team match?
Yeah,
it's a lot of people's favorite.
Lucha Brothers, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of people's favorite.
I'm a big fan of Pentagon Jr. I'm glad, like I said, I was telling Wole, I'm glad he finally got his flowers with the show.
Hey, Rentagon. Ray Phoenix is the greatest tightroper of all time.
Yeah,
his idol is Rey Mysterio. You can clearly tell.
You can clearly tell, man. Yeah. Clearly tell. You can see that.
The stuff he was doing, the stuff he was doing, like since like Lucha Underground, is like even before that, it's crazy. It's even to me, it's even better. Like what he's doing now.
No, just it was a good card. I mean, and I like that how they respected the title, right? They respected the world title and had the main event because you can easily have CM Punk being the main event,
absolutely,
easily, and no one would question you. To be honest with you, it's CM Punk, but you respected the world title, like, and I get frustrated with that. Like when I see any promotion, like, to be honest with you, when it's the heavyweight championship of the world in your company, like it should be the main event.
Yeah, without even thought, question, or
exactly.
It's automatically last. That's why the fans pooped over SummerSlam. Like once Bianca lost that title that way, and what I call the finger poke of doom, what they do to blacks. Because listen, even on your show, I will say this. Vince McMahon is not like black people. And if somebody tells me where Bobby Lashley's a champion, I'm gonna tell you who's their number one champion. The number one championship still didn't go to Kofi Kingston through all that stuff. The number one title in WWE is the Universal title. Yeah, and everybody knows it. Yeah, it used to be the WWE championship, but it isn't any longer.
That's true.
No, I agree, man. I mean, I don't know if it's like like black. I'm not gonna go that far. I mean, I'm sure you may be right, Mike. I'm not gonna go that far. I don't know what's in that man's heart. You know what I'm saying? But the proof, like the evidence is out there, though. Let's put it that way. The evidence is out there. What happened to Bianca, man, I know. I asked you. I expected
Kofi Kingston 2.0.
I remember when we were talking, Mike, and I was like, I wasn't watching it live, and I asked you. I was like, what happened? I was like, yeah, but like she lost. I mean, I heard that she lost. I was like, well, that's to be expected. But then you were like, it happened like within like 30 something seconds. I was like,
this was less than 30.
You built this chick up to be one of the strongest chicks in the division. Like she can do everything. She's the S of the WWE, the EST of the WWE, excuse me. And she could, I mean, Becky just coming out of being gone for some while could just squash her like that.
Yeah, she ain't no, and then it makes you poop over Sasha Banks, who you replaced her with.
Yeah, it's not like Becky. is a monster like a Nia Jax, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like she's not that person.
No.
You know what I'm saying? To squash a Bianca, and not to say that Nia Jax should be able to do that. I'm just saying like it's not like she has that stature. So it's just crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, so we're gonna switch brands from AEW to WWE. So I see, Mike, you got the head of the table shirt. So I'm, you know, best wrestler, you know, right now. So Roman Reigns has been the face of the WWE for over a year. So why did it take so long for creative and himself to figure it all out?
I don't think it was creative that actually figured it all out. I think I give credit to the pandemic.
Yep.
And what the pandemic era did was give wrestling fans a chance to look at Roman without Roman getting booed. Because even when he first came back and they tried this gimmick, it wasn't being perceived, or wasn't being received, on the internet. People still had things to say and complained about it. So it was able to fester. It was able to grow. You were able to start to like it because it was a different Roman. Instead of being, can you imagine that being at the height when Roman was still not liked? I mean, this guy got booed even after having leukemia. That tells you how much, you know. So, but I will always still argue this till our day I pass away when it comes to wrestling. Don't tell me Roman was shoved down your throat. Don't tell me that any wrestler was ever shoved down your throat, because wherever you say that wrestler was, I will compound that with any champion you ever loved. Stone Cold was shoved down my throat.
He was.
H was shoved down my throat.
He was.
Ric Flair was shoved down my throat.
All facts.
Okay. CM Punk, for what it's worth, was shoved down my throat. So pause on all those throat lozenges that I might need right now. But in the world of professional wrestling, you know, don't give me he was giving the shots over and over and over again. Like I saw this guy get booed out of WrestleMania not once but twice. Yeah. Okay. Because that's who the company wanted to give the strap to. So
yeah. And the fact, like when he had that SummerSlam match with John Cena, and Roman Reigns like forgot his promo, and John Cena had to save him and made a joke, hey, you know, it's called a promo, and then, you know, it just turned so bad, you know, during that time. And he was so, I think the problem with him, he wanted to be a crowd pleaser. He wanted to please everyone. Now, like, it's better off for him to be a heel and not care at all. Now it's like just more organically. That is cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody wants the bad guy to win.
You know what that's similar to, though, right? You just what you explain. You know what that's like. That's
his cousin.
Exactly. It's not the same exact thing. You know, it's just that he had to get to a point where he just didn't care anymore. And once he turned heel, you know what I mean? It was like he got into he remembered all of that. Like that's the Rock would say that he remembered all of that. And when you turn heel, it even gave him more passion to go against the crowd or whatever. And then what happens? They flipped the script and they started to adore him for being that way, right? Same thing with Roman. And to Mike's point, he's right, the pandemic. But I also think that the pandemic, and even folks like, I think Edge has said this once, I heard him speak, is that it gave you an opportunity to work on your craft because you're not having people boo you. Right. Like you can do promos now. You can stare into the camera, focus in the camera, and now run your promos without people just booing you crap, or, you know, people saying Roman sucks, just off the humble without him even saying anything, right? So he got the opportunity to work on his craft, and many wrestlers, like not just Roman, Bobby Lashley too, to be honest with you. So many of these wrestlers got to work on their craft because of the pandemic, and what he did was he worked, and it's because anybody, I mean, him becoming bad, sure, you know, you can say that turn the table, but it's not just that. It's the quality, you know what I'm saying? Of what he's putting out there, and it's the how he's holding himself, the mic skills, the freedom.
I said to me, it was over. I've been a Roman Reigns fan, and you know that from knowing probably from the beginning. Yeah. But for me, this gimmick took life when he took on Kevin Owens. Yeah, and he was going through the whole. I put the food on the table, and he looked in that camera on SmackDown and said, "I put the food on the table. I take it off the table.
Exactly.
Have a nice night," and smiled and walked off the camera.
I'm telling
and then, like the next week, Kevin was talking. He said, "Yo, cut off his mic," and they cut his mic off. I said, "Okay, this dude got some, you know, putting him with Paul Heyman." That's why Heyman, Lesnar, and this is the best thing in wrestling right now. The bloodline is the greatest story in professional wrestling right now, and that's what's keeping WWE, I think, fans-wise afloat.
Yeah, I agree, and I do want to, and I want to give having him with Heyman was great, but I want to give Roman more credit because it's different for Brock. I felt Brock needed Heyman a lot for his image. I felt like Brock would need Heyman more than Roman needs Heyman. Like I think Roman's at this point now where Heyman's good for him, but he doesn't need Heyman. Like I feel like Roman's at that level right now. Like I really do believe that he's at that level where he doesn't need Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because I think he's become that, he's that believable. And fans are gonna, I think fans are at this place where they cheer and boo anyway. Like that's their thing. Like you know, they'll say, "Let's go, Cena, let's go Roman," or whatever.
I was there, Undertaker, Triple H.
Yeah, like they just like
stay,
like doing both.
I did it.
Yeah, they like just doing both. And I think they say Roman sucks just to say it, even though they like Roman. They just want to say it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I just feel like Roman's at a place where it just doesn't, and and what's dope about Roman, he knows he's that good. Like you can tell. Like he did. I don't think he knew that prior, but now he knows he's that good. Yeah. He knows he can't be messed with. And I feel like, which is anything that you, in any professional wrestler, when they get to be themselves to a certain extent, it's obviously everything's amplified, right? Yep. But he's himself. You know what I'm saying? He's acting like how he would talk to his cousins. You can tell.
Yeah, exactly. And you know the nice thing about with the evolution of Roman Reigns being a heel, he finally took his shell out of the Shield, especially when he had his own like boss like theme. That theme, that's like, it was a badass theme. It's like you're playing like a video game, and it's like the last boss level type of thing. And like, damn, like I gotta go through I gotta go through the bloodline. I gotta go through Paul Heyman. Then I have to go to the the chief. You know what I mean? Tribal chief. It's like, damn, like, props to WWE for
they deserve credit
changing his theme, man. Like, and he has that slow walk entrance, holding the belt.
He's played the belt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He looks like a prize fighter, man. Like he's about to box.
Yeah, right? The only thing, exactly. Roman's dope. The only thing that's hard for Roman now, because he's to me he's unbeatable. He's like, and then that's the problem for me. It's like you gotta.
Well, I think Brock beats him. I think Brock beats him.
All right, good. I mean, because
I heard some stuff where it's in Brock's contract that every time he gets to have the title.
Are you serious?
What?
Yeah, I read that somewhere. Okay.
That's so.
I don't. I don't do dirt sheets.
Yeah, I know you don't. You don't. Yeah, I know you don't. I can see it because Brock wouldn't. Yeah, I could see that. I can definitely see it.
That's crazy. That is
like
crazy.
probably winning at Crown Royal or Crown Jewel. They should call it Crown Royal. We might like it more.
Yeah, I know, right? But wouldn't it? But all right, so, but Roman is still on tap to fight The Rock, right? Isn't that's the word.
I still have said from day one it was supposed to happen at 21 when it was supposed to be in Los Angeles. Yeah, and I still think they hold that until they get to LA. That's just LA. I don't think it's gonna make it. I don't think it's gonna make it to Texas. I think they pick somebody else before that. It might be even Brock and him again at Mania. I just don't see Brock him at not being in Texas, or not being in LA. I'm sorry.
That's another 2 years, guys.
Yeah. That's why I'm not sure. I think COVID messed that up. As I started calling that blood versus blood a while ago. I'm waiting to see.
Do you think they would rush that, Mike, though, because of AEW?
I think anything's possible right now. Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, freaking Triple H had a goddamn heart attack, in my opinion, because he lost. Because Vince, he's looking at everything he's built in NXT.
Oh man, I feel bad for Triple H, bro. I feel bad for Triple H at HBK. I really do, because they work. Yeah, I feel bad for them because they worked hard on those dudes, man.
People forget that Vince hated HBK too. Like when he was like, a champion, and he had this drug and alcohol, problems. Like he still low key hates him. Like he's only cool with him because he's boys with Triple H. So I have a feeling that there's that little, like thing about that.
He hates HBK. I didn't know that.
That's shattering record news to me.
I didn't know that, Danny. He probably does. This is my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm about to say, don't scare me. I was like,
no. I think he was in the Hall of Fame. It was given, but just like his body of work.
I know he was a headache.
He was a headache.
I mean, that's hard because HBK is HBK, man. I don't think he's gonna hate HBK. I will say that. I mean, I'm sure it's just like it's a headache. You know what I'm saying? But if you make somebody money, though, you help keep it afloat.
Money. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Bret Hart was a headache I'm sure Bret Hart was a headache because that situation, they were headaches, but he still liked Bret.
Brett screwed Brett.
Yeah, Brett screwed Brett. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it is what it is.
It's all good.
I love Brett, so you know what I mean.
I love
it's hard
Brett
for me.
too.
That's
Oh,
my
I
guy.
love Brett, and I got on my arm. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will.
Yeah, darn right, man.
Yeah, when
Darn
Brett
right.
screwed Brett.
Yeah, because Brett was, I know, man, I know. And WCW screwed my man Brett too. But go ahead, man. So sorry, Dan.
No,
Goldberg's
it's cool. It's cool.
And Goldberg, I know, believe me,
Oh.
because I could have had a Brett comeback by now, at least an old Brett comeback or something.
I don't know what he's doing, man. He's old.
Mike know I'm all about the old people coming back, man. Mike know I'm all about the old people coming back.
Don't let Brett.
I don't even hate when Goldberg comes back. I don't even hate that. Like everybody else said.
No, no more.
My kids cheered for it. I didn't cheer for it. My kids.
Your kids cheer. They cheer for Goldberg, right?
Of
course. When you hear that drum beat, and you hear the go, like, come on, man.
You knew SummerSlam was trash, and there was no pyro.
It was trash.
There was no pyro. You had a Goldberg entrance walking to the arena, and then no Goldberg not having pyro was the worst thing ever.
Yeah, he needs pyro.
He had smoke.
He had smoke. I mean, yeah.
It's all good.
It's Goldberg though, man. It's Goldberg.
All right. All right. So we're towards the end of this, Mike. We appreciate your time, and also Wole. So last question for you. You also have your own podcast and also your own YouTube called Around the Bloxxx Wrestling Show. Tell us more about it.
Jesus. I've started God, I don't even know where to start. It's such a long time ago. 13 years ago. I began the Best Damn Show in Radio, which turned into BDSR Network, which turned into me having my own show that was about professional wrestling and entertainment. Because I thought that all these sports shows just never talked about wrestling, and I love sports and I love wrestling, so I combined them. And a long place along the line, it got split up into a bunch of different like fragments, like the Infinity Stones, I guess. and an attempt to find myself and get myself back into what I love, which is professional wrestling, which I find it hard to love these days. At least, over the last year or so when I built it back. But it was pretty much me disappearing from the wrestling scene, and I don't want to say fans like I got 1,000 or hundreds of millions of them like that, but my supporters that was like, hey, we like to still see where's your content after a pay-per-view. So it started off just me doing pay-per-view reviews, still keeping my name out there and my buzz out there. I always tell people, if you don't know who I am, gladly, like my brother David Otunga said to you, Google me. Okay, there's pages on top of pages on top of pages. I'm involved in over 3,000 episodes. Okay, over 15 million listens from Fox Sports to just around the world. So you may not know me, but your favorite wrestler definitely knows who I am. And so at this point, it's just me keeping my passion and going, and the supporters that I have that keep wanting to see me make it is why I keep doing it.
And Mike has great content. You know what I mean? Like Mike is good at what he does. Very insightful. Can educate the wrestling fan who doesn't know as much. You know what I'm saying? Mike is real good at what he does. Very good in his craft. His delivery.
Appreciate that.
His insight. In terms of talking about the wrestling game. So. I think he's been a little modest. He's definitely he's dope at what he does, man. He really is.
I appreciate that.
And like,
I think sometimes my bravado of my gimmick of Mike Knoxxx takes over, and people think I'm that person, but I'm really not. What I'm saying? Like, I think it's or it used to be. I'm not that no more. Shall I say?
No, I think when you look at somebody who knows a lot about what especially talking about professional wrestling, like Mike knows a lot. He could tell you himself because he's had some dope individuals that he's spoken to in the wrestling game. You know what I mean? So, he had Teddy Blanchard, who's now Tully Blanchard, who's now in AEW. Who's in AEW
several
working
times.
with FTR.
Tully, Uncle Rikishi.
Rikishi.
You name everybody who's been on Tough Enough over the last 3 Tough Enoughs.
Maven too.
Not Maven. That was the first stuff. I'll say the last few.
Tough enough. Okay. You've had Crime Time, right? You had.
I've had all of Crime Time.
All of Crime Time
separately. May he rest in peace. It was a good friend of mine actually with Shad Gaspar. Since then, me and JTG's hooked up a couple times.
NWA. He's at NWA right now.
Just blessed and privileged enough to, when I meet these guys, I don't act like a groupie. I keep it professional, but yet I keep it who I am. You know what I mean? And we vibe, and for the most part, anybody I mostly have interviewed, I would say about 80% of the people I've interviewed, I've developed a friendship or a kinship with. So,
man, that's dope, man. Well, I hope to see you in two, maybe in a couple of years when WrestleMania Hollywood comes over here. Because that'll be. I'm planning to go. My son wants to attend. Because I asked him like, you want to go to SmackDown or Raw? Like, no, I want to go to like a really like he wants to say I want to see like the one where a lot of people go, like watches and like, oh, you want to go to WrestleMania? Yeah, like I want to go to that one. So like, trying to have him watch a little bit more so he gets like. I mean, he's only like 6, but he knows it's a big deal because his favorite wrestler Kofi won it on the biggest stage, and to him it's still embedded. Like I want to watch like something like that. So like for me as a dad, that's like. It's like I'm living through him as a 6-year-old because like that's how I watch. Watching on like Fox 5, WWF Superstars and main event.
That's the best way to watch wrestling. It's those kids don't watch it like adults do. It's not. Yeah, they don't make it a business. They don't make it a I told you so. They're not making it I picked this match. It's just they're watching it for for what they feel the excitement of the like. My son's favorite 2 wrestlers are like one of my son's favorite 2 wrestlers is like Rey Mysterio. The other one's like the Big Show and Kane. You know what I mean? It's like that's his spectrum of what he, because he's my son. I have a special needs son, and my kids are kind of they were micro preemies. So I think he admires giants. To him, his father's a giant. You know what I mean? So I tower over my kids. I'm 6'3.5". Almost 300 pounds. So my kids look at it and be like, my father's a giant. I just believe that. So I haven't heard that, but my kids love wrestling. They play the game constantly. My other children are conducting, they're making it their own comic book right now.
Nice.
Like digital comic book. It's just, I have very creative kids and I'm going to take this and make this corny, but Whitney Houston said that they're the future. It wasn't me she was talking about. I wasn't, but I produced some ones that are the future. I'll tell you that.
Blessing.
My kids, your son, your family there, Wally, as well. It's just like, that's the future right now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's our job to continue to teach them and teach. Like, it was funny. I had them, they wasn't watching AEW. And I made them start watching AEW. I said, y'all wouldn't be a good father if I just make you, if all I've ever, see, it was easy to say, hey, go wrestling, they're going to WWE Network.
Yeah, watch that,
it was just easy to do that. So now I have to say, hey, you guys got to seek out other things as well. There's NWA, there's AEW, and then my son loves Ray Phoenix. I'm like, how can you not like the Lucha Bros? It's impossible by me, and if you're a wrestling fan, not like them. But I do appreciate you having me on. Much respect due.
Hey.
To the 1-6 Woo.
So like where can they find you, Mike, on your social medias and your podcast and
as
YouTube
you
page?
said, YouTube, Twitter, Mike Knoxxx, 3 X's. They ask me why. It's simply I just want to be in wrestling, but I didn't want to be a wrestler. I wanted to be a manager, and that was just my name that stuck with me in wrestling. Although at the same time I came out, the other guy, Mike Knoxxx, came out, and then funny about that is, being from the Philadelphia area, a rapper named Mike Knoxxx, and I saw a lot of like at least 3 times a year while I get crossed in a crossfire between the rapper Mike Knoxxx. Like literally like 2 weeks ago, the boss like, yo, y'all sleeping on this mother effer from Philly, Mike Knoxxx. And I not responded like wrong one. You know what I'm saying? But if you Google, like in most cases, if you Google Mike Knoxxx with 3 X's, the rapper will come up first, but then after there, it's me. Because I realized when I Google myself, it's because it's my database. So those things come up that way.
It come up, So you got somebody else has to do it.
You got to look differently and find it a different way.
True.
And I brought up a couple of times at work, and I was like, okay, I'm not the first. Those 2 are still there because they're more popular than more known than I am. But after that, I got more pages than both of them combined. And I'm just being honest because we've been doing this. Wally and myself, we have been joining forces with Soul and Sports. We brought that back today in the football season with Fox Sports. He does his thing. You're doing your thing. I've always been a fan of. We can all make it if we all just respect each other and help each other. Right. And we got a bunch of talented people out there, but if we keep letting these untalented people get by, just because like when you got somebody that has no talent, no offense, like I'm gonna say this, that's my soliloquy, the Paul brothers. I'm not knocking they hustle, but they're famous for talking for talking, I just wonder, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Yeah. That's all. Like, they have no talent per se.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And one can say, well, you're just talking on another podcast. You know what? But check my resume and you will see what I'm talking about. So again, I appreciate you having me on. I really do feel blessed by that.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you guys, man.
So thank you so much, Wole.
No problem, man.
For coming on. I know
no problem.
You're also a big wrestling fan.
Yeah,
So,
man. Yeah, you know, it's just dope talking wrestling, man. I'm glad you had me on, man. You know, I love professional wrestling has been like anything, like over the last some odd years.
It's an escape, right? And it, like,
yeah, it's an escape. But COVID,
yeah.
just like how COVID has changed pro wrestling fans to pro wrestlers, right? To harness their craft and get better. It brought me back to pro wrestling because I was stuck home. Like I didn't want to go out as much.
I remember.
You couldn't go out.
We talked about it.
Yeah, I just wanted to watch professional. I just was watching wrestling. I was watching the WWE, and I was like, okay, it ain't that bad. And then I started watching Impact. Yeah. I watched AEW, and I was like, okay, this stuff it ain't bad. I can get into this. Dope. So I think it's just dope, man. And again, this is the one thing I do want to kind of share for wrestling fans who are watching the show. Is that they don't gotta compete. Like this whole notion, like somebody has to move over. They don't gotta compete. You know, AEW can have Wednesdays and Fridays at 10. Like, and WWE, Vince McMahon, they can have Friday night 8 to 10, and Raw, I'm talking SmackDown and Raw, you know, their long show on Raw, 8 to 11. Yep. So like everyone's winning. That's the thing. Like, we don't need it's still competition. Like now these wrestlers, the cool thing is that now these wrestlers have somewhere to go.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it would be dope for real if Impact, NWA, like if they can get their game up. Not to say, but like get their game up. If they get their game up, then you got that third brand, you know, a third brand, which I think would be dope because you look at when I was growing up, I mean, they weren't as big as WCW and WWE or WWF at the time, but ECW was still legit. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like it still had a cult, right? If they can just get like one of those, not to say they got to be on national, like consistently not on national TV, but they can get a cult, like Impact can get a real big cult. You know what I mean? Because right now Impact to me, they have a cult, but it's still living off of the past, of the AJ Styles, the Samoa Joes, and you know they got talent. I mean, I always say this, you know they got talent because a lot of those dudes, they go elsewhere, dudes and women, they go elsewhere and they become big names. You know, so that's the thing. Like they have talent. You know, the tag team champions in NXT are from Impact, and their Impact boys with this kid named Trey Miguel. They had a stable, and Trey Miguel would have went there, but you know he wanted to stay close to the family because you know the WWE schedule was a little different. But they were basically like just a chill, funny stable. And look at them now. They're NXT. They were tag team champions. So you know, and everybody knows how great Samoa Joe was, and you know AJ Styles. You know, it's just there's talent. There's talent everywhere. You promote it right, fans will watch it.
All right, guys. So that's episode 42. We had the homie Mike Knoxxx, and we got the homie Wole from Urban Sports Radio.
Urban Sports Scene, my man.
My bad. Urban Sports Scene.
Danny, you cool with me, man. You know, you cool with me, bro. You cool with me, my man.
All right, guys. Have a good night, guys.